It's a very cold Friday afternoon on this holiday, the 5th or the 4th of July 2025. My name is Victor Achitamaklu. This is Game Plan. It's a holiday, but we're going to have a fantastic conversation today across football. Try to lift our spirits. Yesterday was a very terrible day for a lot of us. We got news that the legendary Peter Rufai had passed away after a brief illness. And then before that, we also got wind of the unfortunate, very tragic incidents, the accident in Spain that claimed the lives of the Jota brothers, Diogo Jota and Andre, who died in that accident. Even before the day was over, Daniel Cranton's godmother, Evangelist Mama Pats, was also sentenced to 15 years in prison. So he was pretty crestfallen in the Joy Sports newsroom yesterday. So there's a lot going on that has made all of us sad, but we will lift our spirits with the conversations as we will attempt to do for you, particularly those of you who are supporters of Liverpool and Diogo Jota. But away from that, quite a bit is happening because for Barcelona, the day started in the worst possible manner. A very interesting development regarding the future of Nico Williams. Earlier today, the club announced that he has signed a contract extension, an 8-year contract extension. Yes, he's extended his contract by 8 years. We'll get into the details of that, what it means for Barcelona and even Bayern Munich, and for the left wing options that the two clubs are looking for. Arsenal, they're on the market for a substitute for Bukayo Saka. That has ramifications for Chelsea, who, by the way, only yesterday confirmed their agreement with Borussia Dortmund for Jamie Bino Gittins. We'll talk about that. Of course, of special interest to us here has to be the future of two Ghanaian forwards. The first of them, Kamaldeen, who has joined Atalanta on a 17 million euro deal, and then of course Mohamed Kudus, who also is the subject of some intense transfer speculation. So we'll get into all of those issues and have conversations and attempt to make sense and see where will be the better destination for some of the players who have not yet moved, and of course even for those who have committed their futures to the clubs that they currently are playing, because I think 2 days ago it was confirmed that Antoine Semenyo had signed a contract extension, so he's no longer leaving AFC Bournemouth, at least for the time being. Kamaldeen Suleiman has found a new club, so we will have all of those conversations just to see where our players should be, whether or not they have made the right decision. So you can also join the conversation on the WhatsApp line. When it's time, you will send us a message on the contact numbers, and then we'll definitely read those messages for you. This is Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Victor Achitamaklu. Fentio Tahiru Fentio is on Zoom. Situ Patrick Philip is also joining us on Zoom. Daniel Cranton is going to be in the studio in a moment. Muftar Nabila Abdullah is also joining as we have this conversation. Let me remind you that tomorrow the African Women's Championships, the Women's AFCON, begins in Morocco. So the opening group game of that competition will be tomorrow. The host Morocco are in action. Even before that though, CAF this week has been very busy. They made a couple of announcements. First being the change in the trophy, which they say is a new bold emblem of equality, unity and excellence in football. But I'm sure of more significance to you has to be the prize money, which as we speak has seen a significant increment. In fact, it has been increased by 100%. Yes, that's the eventual prize money for the winners. It has been increased by 100%. So that's a bit of good news for the Black Queens. Just to get into the details of that, and then we get into our conversation, because we're not going to spend too much time on this matter. The Black Queens are not in action until Monday, right, when they play the first game against South Africa. The overall winner of the African Women's Cup of Nations is taking home $1 million. The runners-up are now taking $500,000. That's a $200,000 increment on the previous prize, and then the fourth place team takes home $300,000. Quarterfinalists will earn, all four of them will earn $200,000, and then the third place team of the group stage is also going to take home $150,000, and the fourth of the group will take home $125,000. So in total, CAF is giving away $3,475,000 at the Women's African Cup of Nations. It's 28 minutes gone past 1 on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Victor Achitamaklu. We're going to start with the unfortunate passing, not just of one person, of the three individuals who yesterday were confirmed dead. All of them ex-footballers. The last of those was of significance to us, particularly because he's from next door Nigeria, the legendary Peter Rufai. He won the African Cup of Nations in 1994 and also played for the Super Eagles at the 1994 and 1998 World Cup, was their starting goalkeeper for 3 consecutive AFCONs, right? He was the starting goalkeeper for 3 consecutive AFCONs, was also part of the team that finished runners-up in 1984, 1988 as well. He was there. So he has a silver and both gold medals from the African Cup of Nations. In all, he earned 65 caps for Nigeria during a 17-year playing career for the Super Eagles. And that is the sort of figure who passed away yesterday. During his playing days, he played for some really interesting clubs in Europe. I'm sure a lot of you will remember his days at Deportivo La Corona. Played for them between 97 and 99. Before that, he was in the Netherlands for a year. Played for Go Ahead Eagles between 93 and 94. Back home, it was Stationery Stores in Nigeria where he first made his name. That's where he got his debut Super Eagles call-up and went on to keep the post for the Super Eagles. May his soul rest in peace. Let me see if French Tahiri has joined on Zoom. Okay, so French is not on the line yet. I think Sicho is also joining us on Zoom. Daniel Cranton is going to be in the studio in a moment. But the other individual who passed away, or the two other persons who passed away yesterday, were of Portuguese descent. And look, there's no way of telling this story nicely. There is no way of saying this in a manner that is not going to make it any more heartbreaking than it already is, because this was a case of two brothers. So imagine one parent or two parents losing both of their kids in one day to one car accident. Yeah, that is what happened to the Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Jota. And the more you learn about this, the more heartbreaking it gets, because we're now learning that Jota was advised not to fly back to the United Kingdom because of a lung surgery that he just went through. For those of you who would remember, you see that injury that he sustained in the Premier League game last year against Chelsea in October? Well, it forced him to miss about 2 months of injury, about 2 months of action that time, because he had a rib injury. Well, later things got bad enough for him to the extent that he needed to undergo that lung surgery. That was done, and in the judgment of the medics, Diogo Jota is not fit enough to fly, and so he was advised against going back to the UK. But he decided to find an alternative means of transport to the United Kingdom. So he was trying to go to the UK through the Spanish ports, right, in Santander. And that's where he was trying to go. That's why he was going with his brother. Unfortunately, in an attempt to overtake another vehicle, the tire to one of the tires to his car got burst, and then the car caught fire. Unfortunately, both Diogo and his brother Andre, who plays in the Portuguese second division, did not survive that accident. We'll get into that conversation and also our conversation, our outlook of the transfers, the FIFA Club World Cup, and all of that in a moment. But this is Game Plan, proudly brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Betway, get way more. Now, Betway Scratch and Win is back with a bang. A whooping 9 million Ghana cedis prizes, ranging from cash, free spins, free flights, and more, are for grabs from the 1st to the 31st of July this year. So, how do you take part and get to win one of these prizes? It's pretty simple. Log into Betway, bet on sports or casino, and you'll get your daily scratch card. From there, it's just scratch, match, and win, with every day being another chance to strike it lucky. This is happening only at betway.com.gh today. Betway.com.gh, that's the address that you need to key in and then get to play and win. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. Betway, get way more. Hello Ghana, remember the excitement, the dreams we feel together. Well, for 10 incredible years, Petrosol Platinum Energy celebrated with you in the Energizing Dreams promo. We poured joy into your journeys, rewarded your loyalty, and shared in your aspirations. But as the sun rises on a new day, so too does a new chapter for Petrosol Platinum Energy. While the anniversary celebrations have concluded, our promise remains unwavering to you, to be your trusted partner on every road in every endeavor. Petrosol Platinum Energy, triple ISO certified, multiple award winning, with over 100 stations nationwide. We continue to deliver the quality fuels and lubricants you depend on. Remain committed to energizing your dreams, fueling your progress, empowering Ghana's growth. Our tagline says it all. Petrosol, energizing dreams. It is not just a slogan, it's our enduring commitment to you. Visit any of our over 100 stations across Ghana and experience the Petrosol difference. Quality you can trust, service you can rely on. Petrosol Platinum Energy, still energizing your dreams today and always. There is more to come from our partners on Game Plan. Daniel Cranton just joined me inside the studio. Daniel, good to see you. Thank you for coming into Game Plan today. We'll come to you for your first word in the moment. But in every community, the skyline is dotted with uncompleted buildings. Some at the foundation, others at the lintel or roofing level. Each one tells a story, a dream, a home in the making. Because home ownership remains one of humanity's greatest desires. Wherever you are on this journey, whether you are breaking ground, building up, or simply furnishing your space, the EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair is designed with you in mind. That's why you need to join us on Friday the 25th of July to Sunday, July 27 at the EcoBank Tema Branch Community 5 opposite KFC for the EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair second clinic this year. So let's help turn your home ownership dream into a lived reality. The EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair is powered by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and brought to you by Drive EV Ghana. Drive into a sustainable future. Virtual Security Africa, security for all. Safety and home solutions. You think of a door, we have it. Superlock Technologies Limited, you deserve the best. DPS Pipes, connecting you to life. Elegant Homes and General Construction Limited, where quality meets value. Gold Key Properties, transforming the landscape. Ayuda, Ghana's #1 services app Bako services Bibre. Special Gardens, memorable living. DBS Industries Limited, we truly are your roof experts. Doormasters, the best indoors. Leash Fortune Limited, unleashing luxury with perfection, one space at a time. LandlordAfrica.com, bringing the real estate industry to your doorstep. The Builders Market, bathroom, get it right. Right House Energy Limited, let's build smarter energy together. Masters in solar installation, and Syntex Tank, are you strong, are you tough. Interplast, we make sure water reaches you even in space. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investments. Western Villas, where dreams meet reality. The EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair 2025. Dream it, own it, live it. Now, it is back, and I'm talking about the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. It is making a thrilling return on the 9th of August on Saturday at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. So get ready for a day packed with thrilling corporate sports action. This year, we've got it all from the swimming, table tennis, 5-kilometer race walk, masters 50-meter dash, the CEO's penalty kicks, football competition, mixed relays, volleyball, drafts, and so much more. To register, simply call us or send us a message on WhatsApp 0540 106 466 0540 106 466, or visit the Joy FM front desk and pick up the registration form, fill it, complete it, and submit it. Mark your calendars. The date is the 9th of August at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. Joy Sport Invitational Tournaments. Play for peace. It's 38 minutes gone past 1 on Joy 99.7 FM. I have my team set for this conversation. Daniel, good afternoon and welcome.
Yo!
I like your energy too, because yesterday was like the Mama Party news. It'd be like it hit you, like the way you were very sad in the newsroom.
All the news that we heard yesterday.
Because it looks like you had recovered.
Mama Party own way.
It looked like you had recovered, and then the Mama Party news came.
No, my brother has passed, and I'm sad. I was sad yesterday. Mama Pat, obviously, she's a weekend entertainment.
Yeah.
That one here be slow, but the main reason why I was obviously everybody is why they take Mama Pat from her. You think I didn't hear you? You see Mama Pat with my grandmommy. If I do your family this thing, your family tree, the history right now, I will catch you.
You don't feel the way you don't the vibe way Charlie.
She be weekend entertainment.
Yeah. She worry boys.
Oh.
She worry boys. This morning after the sports center, someone was asking me about Peter Rufano about Brasa. Where I say it's not your fault. 80s and 90s, nobody expected you to be watching AFCON at that time. But yeah, yesterday was a double whammy for the world of football.
The start of the day, end of the day. Very painful. Actually.
Fentio Tahiru Fentio. You are smiling too much. You are young man. You are smiling too much. You are supposed to be sad. I can't see. Okay. Friends, now talk to me.
We're all in mourning. Cicho is wearing black. He said he's been wearing black since yesterday. He's mourning. Like I'm wearing black. We are the only ones who got the memo. The two of you, I don't know what exactly is going on there. But in Ghana, when we mourn, we wear black. So I don't understand the two of you.
You are the ones smiling and full of cheer when you are supposed to be very emotional.
Listen, after the events of yesterday, that's why I had to wake up with a smile, knowing that just waking up alone is a privilege, because the day is not guaranteed. So every moment you get, you have to make it count. You have to smile. I'm not going to spend the rest of my day being sad and frowning and languishing and being all so down over my poverty or no. I mean,
you are not poor. You are not poor.
Don't you see that when you say poverty,
it is not relative. It is not relative.
Hold on, when you say poverty is a word. Only Ghanaians reduce the meaning of poverty to just not having money, but you can have a poverty of mindset. You can have a poverty of a lot of things. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So I lack a lot of things. So that's a poverty. It's not just lacking money that is poverty. But on a more serious note, listen, I think it really is a life lesson. It's essential. Moments like this always make you reflect over your life. To see what is really worth it, and it's a moment to really reflect on what is more important in life, and to have a second look at maybe holding grudges or putting aside your dream, because you can achieve your dreams like Jota did and still not live long enough to enjoy those dreams, because he had a dream. I mean, today Liverpool posted a video of him talking about how it's always been his dream to play in the Premier League and win the Premier League, and he did it, and he didn't even enjoy that for up to 2 months. He won the Nations League with Portugal. How long did he enjoy it? He just got married. How long did he enjoy the marriage? 10 days, if you're being very specific. That's how long he enjoyed the marriage. Granted, he's been with his partner for a long time. But, tomorrow is not guaranteed. I think we all know that. But sometimes we forget, and then we get on with our lives, and we do things that don't necessarily embody that awareness that, tomorrow is not guaranteed. So I think, I've never been this hard hit over an active player's death since Christian Atsu, a couple of years ago. Ivishek Tiote, I think when it happened, he was far away from us in the mainstream because it happened in China. So that attachment wasn't there because we had gotten used to not seeing him every day on our screen. So it was probably in comparison a bit easier to deal with, But when you see what happened, even for Christian Atsu, he had gone to Turkey, so he was also a bit away from your screens, and and he had been away from the Black Stars for a little bit as well. So that immediacy, it's not the same as what it is with the Jota situation. Because only a couple of weeks ago, we were all watching Premier League football, and there he was. Even that game that supposedly sustained the hip injury against Chelsea, we all watched that game. And I've seen Sicho going on and on about all the things that led to, even that road trip in the first place. And all of it seemed to have begun from that very injury. And we all saw it happen. So, it's just so... It's hard to comprehend, And it's like, it's your brother, it's a family member. It's like, it's crazy. It's been difficult. And this comes from someone who's not a Liverpool fan, but from someone who's covered him and has watched him week in, week out. It's hard to comprehend.
One thing that is pretty clear from this tragedy is the inevitability of death, because from everything we've been told, this was a man who thought, okay, he's been advised not to fly, so he's trying to circumvent that and go through the ports and then go by sea, only to face that situation. But Sicho, do you have any recollection of? Oh no. Do you have any recollection of the match itself? Because that Chelsea game, all of us who watched the game, it didn't look like. It didn't look like anything career threatening or anything seminal to that extent. And to be here a few months down the line, to be now having to trace everything back to that moment and the surgery that he had to go through.
That surgery wasn't career threatening, and we saw it. He then went on to be with Portugal, won the Nations League. Then he had his wedding, he was in good spirit. So he looked healthy, but of course, precautions will always be taken after surgeries like that. And it's not out of place for doctors to advise that, people who have gone under surgery shouldn't, especially around the lung area, shouldn't fly, because the higher the altitude, the more pressure it is on that part of your body. So yeah, it was just precautionary. And so they were, he and his brother were trying to go by the port of Santander and then go by ferry, and then from there, anybody who's accustomed with Europe, or maybe if you did geography, the map of Europe, that straight away from there he could drive through and get into the UK, where he was going to get ready and start his pre-season with the club. But yeah, then it happened. However you look at it, it could have been for whatever reason. He could have just decided, I won't fly, I'll drive. Nothing would have been wrong with that. He could have just decided that even though I want to have a road trip with my family, with my brother, nothing would have been wrong with it. In the end, because of the fatality of the incident, many people are questioning why road, why is he driving, why this and why that. It's ultimately, for me, the one thing that came to my mind, I know it's a sports show, but the one thing that came to my mind is that ultimately this life is a passing, and none of us really have a date, a time, and a place where our time on earth is going to be due. So I just want to tell people listening and watching us today that know your God and know your God really well. And that you just have to know your God and know your God really well, because when the time is done here, there's another place to be. And for Diogo Jota, many people have said a lot of nice things about him. We saw him behind the screens when we watched on TV. But those who worked with him day in, day out said he was a really good person. And that's the kind of person that, teammates and family have lost. And when you think about it, for the parents, it's going to be tough. Because the two boys are the only two kids that the parents have got. Jota has been with the now wife for 15 years. They've got 3 kids. The last kid was born only this year. The eldest son is only 4 years. And they've got this woman who's now would have to raise these kids all by herself because the man with whom he's had these babies with is gone. And Fento mentions it. We probably have not seen a player that we see every single day on our screens with a big club, going the way that he has. But this is Jota. And again, like I say, nobody has time, date, place where these things could happen. So hold on to your God well, know your God well. And when it happens, you just rest assured that the confidence you and your family would have is that having transitioned from earth, you are at a better place. That is a devastating news. And our condolences to everybody who's affected. All the Liverpool fans, my brother Kweku Ahinkra and Yampo Fuankra, everyone who are connected to the club and the players.
All right, let's talk about more heartwarming stuff because media, they be me. Earlier today, we got the news that the video they attached.
No. Actually, you have to discuss the breaking news story.
You get her.
It's breaking news. Breaking news. There's huge breaking news.
Do us the honest then. Do us the honest.
Huge breaking news. This is public now. The police have released a statement. It's huge public news. Like this is huge. Sicho, this is huge.
So go on, tell us. What's the breaking news?
Breaking news.
Massive breaking news.
Breaking news.
Whoa, no.
This is huge breaking news.
Sicho is now seeing
I've just seen it.
Yeah.
I've just seen
breaking
it.
news.
No.
Our former Arsenal midfielder and Ghana midfielder Thomas Partey has officially been charged with rape by the Metropolitan Police Service in the UK. The statement reads that the Crown Prosecution Service has authorized the Metropolitan Police Service to charge a man after a file of evidence was submitted by detectives. The Met, which is the Metropolitan Police, has issued a charge and requisition to Thomas Partey, 32 years, born 13th June 1992, of Hertfordshire, in connection with the following offences. The offences are as follows: 5 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual assault. The offences are alleged to have taken place between 2021 and 2022. End of statement.
So 2 of the counts of rape relate to 1 woman, 3 counts relate to a second woman, and the 1 count of sexual assault relates to a third woman. The Met Police said these are alleged to have taken place 2021 and 2022. He is due in court, Westminster Magistrates Court, on August 5. That is when Thomas Partey is due to make an appearance in court to go and defend his innocence or the otherwise, or to defend his innocence, if you like, at the Westminster Magistrates Courts. I think this is something that a lot of people have suspected for a while, but yeah, formally he has been charged. Let's leave the rest to his entourage to go and defend that in the Westminster Courts. But guys, earlier today, Athletic Bilbao announced that Nico Williams had agreed an 8-year contract extension. Danike.
No. Actually, why are you just brushing this matter?
I didn't brush it aside.
They said the incidents happened between 2021 and 2022.
Yes.
And I don't understand. This is a bit curious. Don't you find it a bit curious that it's only happening 3 days after he officially left Arsenal Football Club?
I think what's pretty
because
clear is
when the incident supposedly happened, he was still at Arsenal. I have a question for you. Do you think that and this is in no way trying to pass any sort of judgment, and this is in no way to brush aside the alleged victims and their concerns or what have you. But do you think that if he was still at Arsenal, this news would have come out now? And this question goes to all of you.
Yeah, I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think, to be honest, I don't think it would have mattered if it was still at Arsenal or not. That's not how the systems work in the UK. It wouldn't have mattered. We've seen players in high-profile places, big clubs, playing week in, week out, and matters of this nature have come up and they've had to do their work. What I can say, however, is that my suspicion is Arsenal were aware of the timelines of this situation. They knew how long perhaps the investigation was going to take. They knew how long the prosecution would have to take to file a case like this. And maybe Arsenal have let him go just at the perfect time, knowing that the player in question is going to be dealing with this matter. Look, he's not guilty. He's not guilty, but he has to deal with it. He has to confront it. He has to be in court. We saw Benjamin Mendy play. Benjamin Mendy was picked. He was playing for Man City. He was winning everything with City. They picked him. We saw the issue with Guy Gerson. He was sidestepped. We've seen a lot of other players. Mason Greenwood was Manchester United at the time, one of their best attackers. It happened. So I don't think if he was playing for Arsenal still, the issue wouldn't have come up. It would have. But Arsenal have maybe then been following this closely and just known the right time to let the player go. The big problem now is with Thomas Partey out of contract. If Partey was in contract with another club, then you know that, okay, maybe reduce wages or something, but he's still going to be earning money. But now Partey is without a club. You wonder which club is going to take a chance on him now that he's had to deal with this matter. So onto his
that was going to be my next question, because then what happens now?
That's the obvious one.
Obviously, the career will be on hold. If you look at every player who's had to deal with a case like this, your career is on hold. Whether or not you are innocent does not matter. Clubs would want to see out how it concludes. If he's able to beat the charges and then escapes. In the case of Benjamin Mendy, he's never been the same. You may still have a career at a certain level of European football, but if you compare the trajectory that Benjamin Mendy's career was on before the charges and before the court case and everything, you can tell that it took quite a bit from him. The dynamics are a bit different. Partey is 32, going to 33. Benjamin Mendy was much younger. So if he emerges from this innocence, I think some of the opportunities that were available to him now will still be, for example, a place like Saudi. Once he's innocent, I don't think that the public perception of him will affect the opportunities that he can get. Even in places like France, in Italy, in Spain, and all of that, those are places that I think he can still have a career. Daniel, if you have any thoughts on this, so that we quickly move the conversation on.
Yeah, obviously it's big news.
And before Daniel comes in, I was going to say, the nature of the matters of these situations, it could take years, right? And I hope it's not the case. We are talking about, there are about 3 different counts of, the sexual charges against him, and I hope that it's a fast process. And I wish him all the best in proving his innocence in this. But if it is what he's being charged with, again, I'm not going to sit here on radio and pretend that I back people who sexually assault women if proven guilty. But I wish him all the best that if it's not the case, he's able to prove his innocence. And hopefully it is done quickly, because at the age of 32, you've not got time on your hand as far as football is concerned. So bad news, terrible news for Thomas Partey, and we wish him all the best.
Daniel?
Yeah, it's been coming. We knew of this thing a couple of years ago. Obviously, they say between 2021 and 22. Yeah. And for an official charge to be issued, then it means that the detectives have some good evidence. Yeah, enough evidence, and they've done their homework. But yeah, as Citro said, we obviously, at the end of the day, we want justice to be served. If he is guilty, he should face the law. If he's innocent, hopefully the laws or justice bails him out. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Yeah.
So, Nico Williams, Barca thought they had an agreement with him. On Monday, Athletic Bilbao formally complained to La Liga that they don't think the deal should go ahead because they didn't think Barcelona had the finances. Well, now they've made it. They've thrown a curveball at Barca because not only has Nico Williams extended his contract by 8 years, they have now pushed his release clause by 50%. That means a minimum of 90 million euros. That also means that if Nico Williams were to leave tomorrow or anytime in the future, it will take a club record transfer. Remember, the record transfer for Bilbao was what Chelsea paid for Kepa, right, a few years ago. Now it's 90 million euros. Bilbao have won, it appears.
It looks like. But this whole thing is Barcelona's financial issues. If you read the news around it was because obviously Barca had registration issues, which boils down to issues with their finances. But if they were able to sort it out, I'm sure the deal would have gone through. But again, despite the fact that his contract has been extended, if you look at the release clause, it's just 50% more. So I heard it's between
it takes it to 90 million.
90 million. 90 million for Nico Williams. It's time for a big team.
Yeah,
he's worth that sort of money. So I don't think it's as straightforward. This 2035 they are talking about.
Oh, you won't get it.
You won't get it. Barca just need to clean up the books and somebody will pay. So it's not. I don't see why. Obviously, Barca would have wanted him this season, but a delay is not denial. This thing will eventually happen. Like it's one of those deals where you just know it will eventually happen, because at the end of the day, he wouldn't have agreed personal terms with Barca if he didn't think this thing was something that was possible. Bilbao certainly want to keep him for some time, and from a Bilbao point of view, I also understand if you are negotiating a contract extension with this guy, the release clause just basically shows that Bilbao didn't have the power. They were not in the position of authority, yes, in position of power when they were negotiating the deal. They certainly just want a bit more money from him. Would have been very painful for him to go for, I think, was it 45 or 50 60 million. Very, very painful, honestly, if you look at the talent that he has. So it makes sense why they would extend this contract and then insert a very reasonable release clause, and then I'm sure in the future Barca by all means come back for their guy.
Sicho, they definitely will come back. I think so. But on Tuesday, we were told that the young man had asked for a written guarantee that Barca can register him in the event he puts pen to paper, so that he secures himself. If those guarantees are not met, he could find a way out of that contract. Does that insistence by his lawyers jeopardize any future move from Barcelona, who he clearly wants to play for, who also appear hell-bent on signing him?
No. I think that his team and his management team did an incredible job. Because what they knew or what they understood or what the background check they had done was that it wasn't going to be simple for Barcelona to quickly register him, especially on the wages that he was going to come with and the problem that Barca have got. Remember that when Barcelona had accounted for, Barcelona in their new stadium that they are building, in this year's financial report, they have sold VIP boxes to members, and people have started paying. But La Liga took that out. La Liga didn't accept that because the VIP boxes were not even built yet. So if they are not built, then you can't account for it as part of your financial statement. So what Barcelona did was to make the VIP box a priority. So if you look at the new camp now that they are building, at the moment the project that is fast going is the VIP boxes, because they want to finish it up so that it could be there for the sale, right? And all of that was to raise enough money for these kind of deals. Unfortunately, that kind of money hasn't been raised. And when you say Barcelona are broke, they are not saying they don't have liquid. They have liquid, but they don't have liquid to spend because of the revenue and then the squad they've got and the wages and everything everybody knows about the FFP version in Spain. Now, Nico's team knew about the possibility of him going through what almost went through, or at some point went through last season. And this summer could have been worse because they didn't want the player to go and be stranded off game time and stranded off not playing because of he's not registered, all of that. So all they asked for was that if I'm not registered at a certain time, I should be able to have an exit clause in my contract that you're going to be signing. But Barcelona is a big club. Barca cannot pay over 50 million in these times for a player like Nico, and then give him an exit clause weeks into his contract. So it was either he was coming to suffer with them in terms of him being patient enough for them to work out all the levers and whatever to register him, or the deal was off the table. For Atletico Bilbao as well, the boy's current contract is running down. If he's not going to leave this summer, then they might as well tie him down to something that makes them more money when it's about to leave, because they also know that potentially he's going to climb up the ceilings, and once that is done, his value will be higher than what is currently on the table. So both parties are playing well. Barcelona don't have the liquid to register him quickly and straight away when they sign him. And Barcelona, La Liga president said it, and the player didn't want to have that waiting time and the anxious moment. Barcelona couldn't give him the assurance of it. Atletico Bilbao couldn't also allow him to run on his current contract because it was risky, and so they gave him a new contract which he signed. But Danny mentioned it, for a player who, for a quality of ace, who potentially could be going for less than 100 million, it's chicken change for teams like Bayern, for teams like Real Madrid, who also have been said that are also keenly monitoring on the boy for the future. For teams like Man City, if they want him. For teams like Liverpool, if they want him. So yeah, it means that Barca will not straight away only come for the boy, but it puts him in the market for other teams to look at the possibility of signing him even next summer.
Friends, is there a world where this deal gets done this summer, possibly in August?
I don't think so. I think that there is a sense that Barcelona feel very used by Alex Tenta and his boy
Used?
Nico Williams. Because if you read from the Spanish newspapers, especially the pro-Barcelona newspapers, there is a whole sense that Barcelona feel that this is the second summer in a row where Nico Williams has dangled around Barcelona and has ended up not going. And I'm saying not going because I don't think that's going to happen this summer, because from every indication, from every report that I have read, he is getting more money now from Athletic Bilbao than what Barcelona were actually offering him in their proposal to him. And as recently as just last week, on the 24th of June, Alex Tente, his agent, had informed Athletic Bilbao that he was negotiating a deal with Barcelona and that he was going to go. And Bilbao never listened to that, because they had always had the impression that, given Barcelona's financial situation that Sicho has eloquently explained, that they were in a very strong position financially to be able to give him a deal that he'll be very happy with. And in the end, he did it. He always had, look, Nico Williams always had two aims going into this transfer market. And that's why I feel for Bayern Munich, because Bayern Munich were never in the picture as far as the player himself is concerned. They were trying to convince him, to come to Bavaria, but he always had his mindset on two things. One was to join Barcelona, and two was to get a contract extension at Athletic Bilbao and get more money. In the end, he ended up with the latter, mission accomplished. But I think that for Barcelona, they have to forget about him this summer. There can be a point in the future, like Daniel said, where they come back for him. But I think, given what has happened and the way they feel, you get the impression, you get the sense that Barcelona, even if this deal happens, it would be happening in the future in the terms that Barcelona are very happy about. Because at the end of the day, I think that Nico Williams, unless he goes on to become this world-class player at certain levels that Barcelona are undeniably in need of his services, I don't think that he'll be holding the chips now in the next year and the next 2 years to be able to tell Barcelona exactly how a deal should be done. I think that possibly he could still be joining Barcelona, but at the moment, Barca definitely do feel very much used. And now it's ruined a lot of things for Deco. And their summer plans, because Nico Williams from the beginning was always number one choice, and that means that they have to now piggyback on Luis Diaz, who has also been linked to Barcelona. And given what has happened with the Diego Jota situation, you wonder if Luis Diaz would be allowed to go, because now obviously they would be able to give him an offer, because initially the other issue was that Barcelona didn't have enough money to be able to pay someone like Luis Diaz. He's coming from a Premier League club where they pay a lot of money. At the moment, their number 1 target is off the market. They're picking back on the number 2 target, whose circumstances have also changed because of the very unfortunate situation from yesterday. So that has completely thrown Barcelona's summer plans into complete disarray, because at the moment, who is that right-footed left winger that they would sign in this transfer window?
Clarify.
Marcus Rashford. I've heard Marcus Rashford's name. You heard Marcus Rashford's name as well, right?
Oh, Man United fans were happy because there is a window for Rashford now. Yeah,
that's what it's looking like, because no Nico Williams.
Before I come to you, though, friend, clarify something for me.
Instead Rashford.
Friend, clarify something for me quickly, and be as brief as you can. This idea that he has played Barcelona, where does it come from? Because last year he said it was not up to him. Barca didn't put in an offer. This year, he agreed terms. Barca just couldn't register him and delayed until the point where the boy had to now renegotiate and then get it. And the money Athletic Bilbao are paying him is not crazy money as we speak. There's 192,000 euros a week. How did he play Barcelona?
You see, the thing is, if you look, I'm just trying to read a quote to you here from Sport. All right, Sport are the
Barca biased. We know
exactly.
Yeah,
very, and this is what he says. That the Barcelona feels used and knew absolutely nothing about this impending renewal from him. And there's a quote in this report that I'm just opening, that the feeling, and this is a line from the report, the feeling at Barcelona was one of disbelief, just like last year when Nico Williams wore Athletic's new shirt while holding a video conference claiming he was interested in signing for Barcelona. He ultimately decided to stay, leaving Barca in the lurch. But this year's negotiations were much more advanced, with a full agreement on a salary amount and a contract agreement until 2031. And negotiations were well underway to be able to pay the buyout clause next week. So there is a feeling of blindsiding as well in all of this. And that the failure to even inform Barcelona of his final decision is a final ploy that has left Barca offside and has caused shock and anger after the continuous contacts of recent weeks. So there's also that sense that even though he had his other options, and that option was a pretty strong one, which is making a contract extension with Athletic Bilbao and staying, it's only proper to keep the other party informed, especially when you've made the decision. But clearly, from every indication from this report, Barcelona discovered on the internet, just like the rest of us, that he was signing a contract extension. And if I were in Barcelona's shoes, I'll be angry too.
Well, I think that last point about him not informing them about the contract extension makes a lot of sense. But I'll be surprised if Barca did not expect any pushback from Bilbao up until this point, especially that they were going to get him to change the terms, particularly the release clause. Sisho, final points from you on this, and then we go for a quick break.
Yeah, I was also going to say that when the Nico Williams situation is very different, right? He's playing for one of the best teams in Spain at a very good time where the team is doing very well. And we know the boys from the Basque region, they rarely leave the club. They love the club to the core because it's everything. The club doesn't buy players. If you don't come from that region, you don't play for the club. You know, and for him, it's even more special because he has a brother he plays alongside in the same team. They live in the same space. The parents are there. So his family roots is very much embedded in Bilbao. So he has every reason to want to stay at the club. If Barca are not willing to go the extra mile to get him to Barcelona, because for him, if you're not going to guarantee him registration, and if you're not going to guarantee him that if you're not registering him, he can leave, then his motivation to stay at Bilbao is even more, because like I said, family is there. He plays in the same club with his brother. He plays in week in, week out. It's an important player there. They're going to offer him a big contract and increase his money. Why should he bend the wheel to suit FC Barcelona when the club is not looking like they are bending the ears to suit him. So I think his case is different. His case is peculiar. He still knows that he's still got age on his side. He can even play 2 more years at Bilbao and go to another big club in Europe. He's not under pressure. And that is where I think the dynamics are different when it comes to Nico Williams' situation. Family, the club itself and the culture of the club, and where he is and who he is to the club also all counts.
All right, thank you very much, Sicho, for that final word on the Nico Williams situation. But as I've said, look, I would not be surprised if Barcelona come back and decide that they still want to do the deal if they can find the money. These clubs are businesses. They will leave the emotional aspect to the supporters. This is still Game Plan, proudly brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams, and Betway. Get way more. Betway Scratch and Win promo is back, and it's back with a bang. A whopping 9 million Ghana cedis prizes ranging from cash, free spins, free lights, and more are up for grabs from the 1st to the 31st of July this year. So how do you take part? Simply log on to Betway, bet on sports or casino, and you'll get your daily scratch card. From there, it's just scratch, match, and win, with every day being another chance to strike it lucky. Only at betway.com.gh today. Terms and conditions apply. This is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. Betway, get way more. We'll take a breath, and when we return, we'll run the rule over Kamaldeen Sulemana's move to Atalanta, whether or not he's made the right choice, and under what conditions can he excel in Bergamo. Mohamed Kudus is the subject of some transfer speculation. Yesterday, some pastor was posting on Facebook that Kudus' family needs to come and see him, and if he plays for a team in blue or white, his destiny and some things. We'll get into the football aspect of it and also have a word or two on Antoine Semenyo plus Chelsea's transfer, all in the next 45 minutes. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, it's me again. I know you can't wait for the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament 2025. Well, I've got some good news for you. Registration is open. You need to be seen, you need to be heard, and you need to compete and win in this year's edition of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament coming off on Saturday, August 9, 2025 at the University of Ghana Stadium. Registration is very simple. Call or WhatsApp 7 on 0540-106466. The Joy Sports Invitational Tournament 2025, powered by Joy Sports, the thrill of the game.
Every day from 1st to 31st of July, Betway is giving you the chance to strike it lucky and win a share of 9,000 Ghana cedis and prizes in Scratch and Win. Place any bet on sports or casino and earn your daily scratch card for a chance at cash, spins, free flights, and more. Exclusively at Betway. Get way more at betway.com.gh today. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way. Betway. Get way more.
Welcome back. This is Joy 99.7 FM live with Game Plan on this beautiful holiday. Now, in every community, the skyline is dotted with uncompleted buildings. Some are the foundation, others are length or roofing level. Each tells a story, a dream, a home in the making. Because home ownership remains one of humanity's greatest desires. So wherever you are on this journey, whether you're breaking ground, building up, or simply furnishing your space, the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is designed with you in mind. Join us from Friday, the 25th of July to July 27 at the EcoBank branch, Tema Community 5, opposite KFC for the EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair second clinic 2025. Let's help turn your home ownership dream into a lived reality. The EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair is powered by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and brought to you by Drive EVGH. Drive into a sustainable future. DBS Industries Limited, we truly are your roof experts, door masters, the best indoors. Leash Fortune Limited, unleashing luxury with perfection, one space at a time. LandlordAfrica.com, bringing the real estate industry to your doorstep. The Builders Market, bathroom, get it right. Right House Energy Limited, let's build smarter energy together. Masters in solar installation. Syntex Tank, are you strong? Are you tough? Interplast, we make sure water reaches you, even in space. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investments, Western Villas, everywhere dream meets reality. EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair 2025. Dream it, own it, live it. It's that time of the year again when we bring you the Joy Sports Invitational. So, look, dial up your bosses, call them, and ask them to come and register your company for the Joy Sports Invitational 2025. It's happening at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium on the 9th of August, right? Ask them to log on to myjoyonline.com and then download the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament form, fill it and submit it to our front desk here. Now, if your schedule is so tight that you can't walk in here, you can fill that form, scan it, and then send it to the WhatsApp number 0540 106 466. 0540 106 466. And when you send the WhatsApp number, because the requests are many, just call that same number and prompt Slavin and let him know that you have sent your scanned copy of the filled form to him. So your registration can be duly noted. Remember, it is happening on the 9th of August, and so you need to be quick about it. We're going to have the swimming competition, table tennis, volleyball, mixed relays, drafts, footballs, the CEO's penalty shootout, masters 50-meter dash, 5-kilometer race walk, table tennis, and so much more on the 9th of August at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. All right, it's 19 minutes gone past 2 p.m. on Joy 99.7 FM. This is Game Plan. My name is Victor Achutamakla. I'm here with Daniel Crantin. Sicho Patrum Philip is on Zoom, as is Fentio Tahiru Fentio. We've spoken at length about Thomas Partey, who's finally, or should I say officially, been charged with 5 counts of rape. We have also run the rule over Nico Williams and his transfer situation. For the time being, it appears he may be staying at Athletic Bilbao. He signed an 8-year contract extension that has seen the introduction of a 50% increment in his release clause. So as it stands, it's 90 million euros. That's the minimum teams need to pay to get Nico Williams. But as the guys have explained on this show, nothing is beyond the reach of suitors like FC Barcelona. Even this summer, I'm not ruling that out. Well, speaking of transfers, one matter that has had finality brought to it is Kamaldeen Sulemana. Early this week, Atalanta announced that they had signed him from Southampton for 17 million euros. And Daniel, I'm going to start with you. He's one player that a lot of people have faith in. And when I spoke to Masudi Dramani, he coached him twice, I beg your pardon. First at the Right to Dream under 12, and then later at Norgeland as an assistant coach. He says the Serie A is the sort of competition that Kamaldeen will thrive in. Do you agree?
Yeah. Look, he's just end product away from being world class, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah. If he can fix his end product, there's nothing he can do on the ball. Off the ball also. We saw him at Norgeland. And even times at Southampton, we saw his off the ball in terms of defending from the front can be very good, especially when the coaching is right. But it's just the end product. Very good dribbler. He's quick. He's strong. But the end product has to improve. And to be frank, end product is what makes the world class players world class. For me, the Italian league and the coach who is bringing him in is someone who knows him. The Italian league is at a slower pace than the English Premier League, and I think it when you look at the characteristics of the Italian league, it is set for a player like him to go out and impress. And for me, I think the tactical brains in Italy will even force him to improve. It's one of those things where they are so good and so technical in Italy. One season can make you a different player. It's not. It doesn't even necessarily depend on the manager you are playing under. But the league, the players in the locker rooms, they are really intelligent in Italy. And for me, hopefully he can ride on that and improve his game. Because I heard if the guy is balling, Ghana benefits.
It's good for Ghana.
And for me, again, his talent is world class. It's just the end product. If he can fix it, know when to pass, know when to dribble, know when to shoot, when not to, he can be one of the best players.
Sicho, should we be looking at what his competition will be, or the club? We should trust that Atalanta have got a plan for him, especially given the manager is someone that he's used to. Because Ademola Lookman, it looks like he has that left inside forward, half space position on lock.
Yeah, at the moment, when you think of Kamaldeen's position that he thrives in, it's very much on the left space where he likes to cut onto his right, and that it's a position that Lookman thrives in, right? But again, I also think that when Ademola Lookman plays in a system that is 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, and you have to be wide, a very wide player, that is not him. I think he thrives more when in that position that was created for him by Gasperini, where he plays in the back three. Ademola Lookman is not expected to be a very wide player, so he's playing almost always in the half space, coming into the box, playing sometimes a second striker in and around the striker. So if Ademola Lookman and Kamaldeen Sulemana have to play as typical wide forward players, and Danny mentioned in Kamaldeen Sulemana's end product is top, I think it's more effective because when it comes to taking on players over distance, when it comes to speeding or sprinting over distance, I think Kamaldeen Sulemana has got that above Lookman, even though Lookman, in my opinion, is a far better, superior player to him. But then now depends on how the coach is going to set up. If that was going to be under Gasperini, then I was going to say Lookman gets the nod, but I would be excited for Kamaldeen because Gasperini would get a tune out of him. But what makes this deal exciting for me is I don't think it's the club signing per se. I think it's the manager signing, right? And when the manager worked with him at Southampton, he probably thought a lot of things around about the boy that he loved. So he wants him to be part of his new project. And that for me is positive. When a manager signs you, the manager has to back you to thrive. So Kamaldeen becomes an Anthony to Ten Hag, as he would be for.
I bet use a different example. Right? Use a different example.
The reason I'm using Anthony is
I don't care. The vibes he gives.
The manager told. Okay, so there is no listen. Even though Anthony was bad, the manager still had to play him because it was his player. He had to back him to be successful.
Right.
So Kamaldeen might have that goodwill with the manager, so he would have enough game and time to settle in. And of course, if he performs, it justifies why he plays. But I'm thinking that the Serie A, as Danny mentioned, and you spoke to Didi, he mentioned, it clearly sets up for him. It suits him. He's got pace, he's got tricky, he's got a lot of strength when he's dribbling through. If he can fine-tune his end product, if he can cross the ball at the right time, shoot when he has to, pass when he has to, pick his head up on time, and do the very important details in the final third, I think he'll be unplayable. But once it is Zurich who is signing him, I think he's got a plan. But of course, he has to go into the team and earn his place, right? He has to go there and earn his place. So all the best team is in Atalanta, which is a very, very good team in Italian Serie A.
Guys, and this goes to both of you, just how important to have his future sorted out a year ahead of the World Cup, because he's had his ins and outs of the Black Stars for some time now. Now it looks like he can focus on just the football and then fight his way back into the Black Star starts lineup, especially if you consider the performance of the new boys who got into the team recently. We expect Fatau Isako also to be fit in no time. Daniel.
Yeah, look, we get talent too. No, like they are ballers on the wide areas. Yeah. They are ballers. Obviously, we hope that they come back soon enough. But the Unity Cup gave us some
sense of
what we have, and there's competition there. So even for Kamaldeen, we know that Otto likes him. He really, really likes him. But Kamaldeen, Nyama, Isahaku, they would have to start next season very, very well in order to get a place in the Black Stars.
So the first game is in September.
It's in September, yeah. That's like I think 1 month after the season starts. Season starting mid-August, and then the first game is mid-September. So the first international break is when we are playing the World Cup qualifiers. But I guess they need to start the season really well, because for them also fitness has been an issue. Kamaldeen was not necessarily playing too many games before the season, the last season ended. So they would need to get in minutes to be fit enough to go into battle, because if you've looked at, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but if you look at the permutations, we could seal qualification by the end of September, the 2 games. If we win the 2 games and obviously results go out, we could all but be there for the World Cup. So it's business in September, and it's very important. I don't know exactly when Nyama is coming back. I know Partey Isahaku was training before the season ended, so I know he'll be back for pre-season. But for Nyama, I'm not too sure. Kamaldeen himself obviously is fit. If he's going to start pre-season with Atalanta, it looks like they are returning quite early. He would need to get in proper minutes in order to stake a claim for the Black Stars. It's not just about getting the call-up. It's about being fit and ready to compete when he comes to the Black Stars. So, the Italian league is something that he can navigate. It's just about the end product thing. And for me, I thought it was, when we watched him at Rennes, he looked closer to
the idea of what we think.
After Norgeland, he took it a step up at Rennes, and then Southampton just completely destroyed it. If you remember, I didn't want him to come to the Premier League. I didn't think he was ready. And the Premier League obviously very, very, very brutal. But Italian league a bit slow. I think he will warm himself in, and we should be talking about him in a much positive light next season.
Hopefully, he gets to do that for all of us. Guys, now let's talk about Mohamed Kudus. Now, earlier this week, we were told that the Spurs had now moved from just being interested to engaging him and his entourage, and West Ham as well. But there are those who still feel that Chelsea may be a better option. Sishu, when you look at Mohamed Kudus' skill sets and the teams that are reportedly interested in him, does he wait for a better offer or a different offer from somewhere, or Spurs is the right place for him?
Well, I think for the offers that are on the table, I think Spurs is the right place for him. Whether Kudus wait for another offer would be if he himself thinks that he can stay at West Ham for another season, or West Ham are comfortable that he stays. Because I think West Ham themselves want to offload Kudus this summer, not because the bad player, but they feel they're going to get a very good value for him this summer. They've packaged him well, marketed him well, sold him to the world very well. They think this is the right time to let Kudus go, really invest that money into certain areas for Graham Potter. So I think that West Ham are happy to let him go. And Kudus himself thinks that 2 years in the Premier League has shown the world and the Premier League what he's capable of doing. Even though last season was bad, nobody really can point at Kudus and say that you were the reason why West Ham were bad, or you yourself, you've dropped and did. No, everybody blames the whole. So his reputation is still very much intact based on the first season in the Premier League. However, the Chelsea project is very confusing, right? Because look, I'm not a big fan of Donny Madueke. I'm not a big fan of him, I must say, but he's a talented footballer. He's still young. He's got age on his side. He probably is Chelsea's most productive winger, but the club wants to sell him. Estavao is coming back to Chelsea. They have Neto. They've got Joao Pedro. Joao Felix is here to be a floater of the club. The Chelsea project, Jamie Gittins has signed for the club now as well. So he could go to Chelsea as a very talented young footballer that all of us know him to be. But we can't trust the Chelsea project because McGurry has come. We don't know his future. That's Fofana has come. He's injured. We don't know his future. There are several other players you can mention. Chukwuemeka, a lot of them, right? All of them have come and it's happened. So the Chelsea project is confusing. There's one reason why I don't think that Kudus has to go into the team, Chelsea, at the moment. It's not because he won't thrive. It's simply because none of those players at Chelsea, their path and career is guaranteed. But for maybe Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, and a few others, all the other players there, especially the attackers, are shaking. Last season, Nicolas Jackson was their top striker. This season looks like he's going to be in competition with Joao Pedro and Liam Delap. right? Jamie Kitchens has come into the club and has come to make a claim for that position on that left hand side. So it's not cast in stone that it goes to Chelsea and it works.
We'll try
But
to make
we
sense
know
of the
for sure.
Chelsea activities after the Kudus conversation. But
Yeah.
what if
So
he's a player that Maresca himself wants?
well,
That shouldn't
Chelsea
change.
doesn't-
That
that's
shouldn't
what it-
change. That shouldn't change
I'm
your
saying
view
that-
of things.
No, that's what I'm saying. That the Chelsea project doesn't. It's confusing because we know that it's not what Maresca wants. We know that one of the reasons why Maresca is at the club is because he's not going to be the one deciding on which players to come to the club.
Right.
So Maresca might have an input into maybe Kudus coming into the club, but Estavaro is coming back. He wasn't Maresca's signing. There are several other players who are on loan. Like Andre Santos has come back. He's not in the same position. I'm just saying, for example,
Yeah.
they were not Maresca's signings. So Maresca might want Kudus, but it doesn't end with him. But when he goes to Spurs, it's going to be a club where I think he's going to play a lot of games. I think that he is going to have a lot of consistent football. And Spurs is a team that under Thomas Frank will look like. We don't know what it will look like, but if Brentford is anything to go by, it's going to look like a very balanced team, very good offensively, very solid defensively. And offensively, if Thomas Frank has been able to improve players like Wissa, Ivan Toney, Shada, and then Brian Mbeumo, and all of them are commanding good fees now on the market, then why can he not improve a player like Mohamed Kudus, whose ceiling is incredibly high and is already showing enough talent that he will hit it at the very top? So I would back him to go to Spurs, and I'll back him to go to Spurs because he'll play a lot more games. There's more clarity to what they are doing, and then he will thrive. A season or two after, Kudus could be going to yet another bigger club.
Since you've said he's going to thrive, the right wing forward options that Spurs have got in the period that Kudus has been in the Premier League, this is how he compares to them. Brennan Johnson, off his most productive season in the Premier League, over the past 2 seasons, has 23 goals, 18 assists in 89 appearances. Dejan Kulusevski, 18 goals, 14 assists in 89 appearances in the last 2 seasons. And in that same period, Mohamed Kudus has 19 goals, 13 assists, and in 83 appearances. Very, very competitive numbers. But
very similar.
Yeah.
And the thing too is, actually, before you go on, the thing too is, if Thomas Frank is going to play like he played at Brentford,
yeah,
then players like Kulusevski maybe and Brennan Johnson maybe, Brennan Johnson especially, who is very much an out and out wide forward player, could struggle a bit, because what he would then need is players who, even on the offensive or in behind the striker, can play in the half spaces, and that fits Kulusevski and Kudus more. If he's going to play the 2 strikers, it could be Solanke, Kudus. It could be, so Kudus has got a real and if Thomas Frank is going to sign Kudus, then it's probably going to be Spurs' first signing under Thomas Frank, which means that it will be a crucial player to what he wants to do. The reason they want to go in hard for him. So I think Spurs for me. If you ask me, I'm saying Spurs.
Okay. Danny, yesterday we had this conversation about Mohamed Kudus, and you made a very elaborate point on how he fits into the Spurs team and why it could be home for him.
Yeah, for me, look, point one, you look at the manager who wants him.
Yeah.
Okay, you look at the body of work and how the manager who wants him has played or set up his teams throughout his managerial career. When Thomas Frank's time at Brentford has been characterized by the 3-back.
Yeah.
3-back, 2 forwards. And we've consistently seen the type of forwards in terms of profile of forwards that he's used. So it was we've seen Mbeumo, we've seen Toney, we've seen Wissa. This season, Kevin Schade has come in. In fact, when Schade was coming in, we didn't think he could play as a front two. He was like a wide sort of player, but he's been able to mold him into that role perfectly. And all of them have really good offensive numbers when they play in that system. The team doesn't create a lot of chances as compared to the Tottenhams. In fact, the top teams, exactly. But in terms of efficiency, they are up there. Their numbers are really impressive. So you look at the manager, then you look at what the manager needs and what the manager has used before, the history of the manager and the players who have played in that position. So most recently Mbeumo at Brentford, left-footed, strong on the ball, good center of gravity, has a nice shot to him. Mbeumo has always been good in the final third, but we knew him as a wide player, yet he could function in the half spaces and also centrally also. Kudus can do that. Then you also double down and ask yourself, who are the players that Tottenham Hotspur had been interested in? Mbeumo, first of all. Then Mbeumo said he wasn't going anywhere if he was leaving Brentford, if not Man United. Then immediately they shifted attention to Kudus. So it's all beginning to make sense. Thomas Frank wants a player who can play in that Mbeumo-like mode. And he's clearly, obviously, if he wants a player like that, he's clearly going to instill what he knows and what he's been doing. That's the 3-back. Tottenham Hotspur, even at times last season, used the 3-back. So we know they have players who can fit into the wing-back role, the back 3, the front 2. But the attacking players are not necessarily suited to that, which is what Sito alluded to. So Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, these guys are proper wingers and they are not necessarily number 9s or number 10s. So then Kudus comes in, and it's just starting to make sense. Kudus can do what Mbeumo does, and can do it really well. He can do it at a top level. Then you also ask yourself, who is the starting number 9, or who is the main central figure that Tottenham Hotspur have in their line, which is Solanke.
Yeah.
You look at Solanke's mood. He's big, he's strong, he can wrestle defenders, he's good in the box. Solanke gives you this Ivan Toney vibe, but he's a bit quicker on the ball and in terms of his movement. So it's all starting to make sense. In terms of profile, Thomas Frank can see the possibility of recreating that Mbeumo Ivan Toney thing. And for me, at a much higher level, if he gets Kudus to join Tottenham Hotspur, because Kudus and Solanke, look, I promise you, no defense in the Premier League will want to face them.
Sokus,
Kudus and Solanke. Solanke and Kudus. Proper partnership. Look, it's that sort of partnership that you just see it on paper and you know it will click.
Yeah.
They are strong. They both like to work off the ball. They can drop deep. And I think about Tottenham also, if you are looking at the wing back positions, Udogi on the left hand side, Pedro Porro on the right hand side. These guys offensively they are like wingers. Obviously they can do the defending also. But when you have forward players who can drop deep, wrestle, are strong on the ball, can hold that play, it just fits perfectly for that. It's a perfect Thomas Frank style of play or system. So for me, if there's any footballing reason to join either team, is it Chelsea or Tottenham? I think Tottenham is the clearest place that Kudus should join. It's so clear. He walks straight into that Tottenham starting lineup. He doesn't need to compete with anybody, because as it stands, there's nobody in that Tottenham team that can play the role that is being tailor-made for him the way he can. And obviously, once Tottenham Hotspur are not going to get Mbeumo, Kudus is certainly the man. And for me, I think that partnership with Solanke, it's an all-timer. We are sitting on something that a lot of people remember for a very long time. Sokus, proper partnership.
And it looks like West Ham themselves are prepared to cash in on Mohamed Kudus, and so this is a deal that on paper should not be complicated. Sokus. Quick. This is a deal that on paper should not be complicated. We do hope that it goes through, because I won't see Kudus back in the UEFA Champions League. Where's French? You should come and talk to me about the signings Chelsea are making, because I don't understand it. Earlier, we thought Liam Delap was the guy to partner Nicolas Jackson. Sichu, Chelsea have now gone on to the market to sign another striker. And if we were to go by his previous exploits and even the transfer, the price tag, he is not coming to sit on the bench. So they've added Joao Pedro to the ranks. That is 3 centre forwards: Nicolas Jackson, Liam Delap, Joao Pedro. There are other ones who don't get to play, including Magui and the rest of them. What try to make sense of this and make it make sense to me, because I can't seem to make head or tail of it.
Well, if the team was, if this was some 20 years ago where a lot of teams were playing with the 4-4-2, yes, they are thinking, you need extra 2 strikers as backup or perhaps 1 striker. But for a team that predominantly plays with the 1 striker, you're wondering why they've brought in Liam Delap in the same summer they've brought in Joao Pedro. Because for me, then it means maybe Jackson has to leave the scene, but it doesn't look like Jackson is going to leave. I like the Joao Pedro signing, I must say, to begin with, because he's very different from what Liam Delap is or what Nicola Jackson is. And normally when you're a team, you want players to bring different things so that when you're changing games, you can use those players to effect those changes. Look,
how is he different from Delap and then Jackson?
So Jackson runs the channels really well. Not necessarily with the ball. Jackson with the ball is terrible. I think that when it's with the ball, he flaps it a little bit when he's running with it. But when he's not without the ball, he's running down the channel to waiting for the pass or stretching the play. He's great at it because he's got good movements and good pace about him. And sometimes he links up play well. Liam Delap can run with the ball very well and powerfully, right? And also runs into good channels. When you play the ball ahead of him, he can get onto it. His strike is purer than what Jackson offers. Joao Pedro is the proper baller, right? He's the number 9 who's a proper footballer. Of course, he's Brazilian. I'm not going to say he has the skills of that, but he's good on the ball. He holds up the play really well because he can link up well, get into the little pockets, and then play the quick passes with people in a small space and make the move. And he's a striker who can score on the edge of the box, can score in the box, and he can also drift wide and allow others to fill the number 9 space and be successful as a wide player. So that is who Joao Pedro is. So you've got 3 players who are completely very different. But my point is that if we're going to bring in Joao Pedro in the same summer you signed Liam Delap, then maybe you shouldn't have signed Delap. You should have brought in Pedro to complement Jackson. But to have Delap, Pedro, and then Jackson in the same team is confusing. And it's why I said that the Chelsea project, in my opinion, doesn't really. It's difficult to explain it, right? It's difficult to explain it. But I think the Joao Pedro signing is good. If they didn't have either Liam Delap or Jackson, and then they had one of them, I'm saying that the add-up of Joao Pedro is brilliant because he offers more. And Joao Pedro can play as a wide forward without any problems. In fact, Joao Pedro, if Cole Palmer is having a bad day, Joao Pedro could sit in that number 10 position, right? And so across the front position, the one player in Chelsea who is capable of playing multiple roles across the number 10, the number 9, the number 11, the number 7, or left and right is Joao Pedro. So he could well be the most versatile forward player in the Chelsea team. And that's why I think I like the signing. But the fact that they've got Liam Delap as well and Nicola Jackson as well for the same position means that game time is going to be a problem, and the manager has got a lot to deal with.
It looks like they need to find a new home for Christopher Nkunku as well, who doesn't...
After Kukus is leaving, that one that he knows. After Kukus and Co, they are leaving. So that one there.
As for who? Kukus.
Kukus, yeah. Kukus. After Kukus,
yeah. But, DK, one signing that I think all of us will agree that is a very exciting one for Chelsea is Jamie Bino Gittins, who they are getting £50 million from Borussia Dortmund for. That automatically means Pedro Neto is going back to the right wing, right?
Yeah, and he's been playing there for some weeks now. Getting to the end of the season, the FIFA Club World Cup, he's been playing on the right. So I think that's his preferred position.
Yeah.
I think he had to play on the other side because the whole of last season Chelsea didn't have like a consistent performer down that side. So Sancho will come in, will do a job today, will be terrible tomorrow. Then Pedro Neto will have to sit in. And it looked like, to be frank, Madueke, although he's not at the level that to be starting week in, week out for Chelsea, was a much more stable option on the other side, which allowed Pedro Neto to be playing on the left-hand side. But now they have a specialist, a raw out-and-out winger, natural winger. That's where he loves to play. Bino Gittins, he's quick, he's a good dribbler. His link-up play has improved. And he has goals in him also. He can pop up and score some good important goals also. So for me, I think it's a really good signing for Chelsea. Clearly a need that he had from last season. They've addressed the issue, and he fits the mold in the players they are buying. He's young, he's English.
Then you trust Gittins because I think it's flashy. I'm not too sure if he offers them the consistency that a club like Chelsea requires. I think it's and that comes to young players, doesn't it?
See, they're getting
they're getting
it's
like Chelsea doing the same thing they did from last two seasons, where they are finding young players to come in and play and expect them to improve, and then it's 2 seasons on, You are bringing in another young player, and Mudryk is not going to be playing because we know his issue. Sancho is gone. Sterling won't stay. So if he's going to be playing lots of games, it's like 2 years on, you are bringing in another inconsistent player who is yet to really find this game. Because even at Dortmund, from the second part of the season, Gittins was throw off. He was throw off. The first part was. But is it a kind of signing Chelsea should be making around this time of the project?
Look,
for me,
I'm saying,
great.
Yeah, I'm saying we've seen what Chelsea want to do. So I'm not going to sit here and say they need experience because they're not going to do that. So that's why I said in context of what they've been doing, he fits that profile. Yeah. He's something they needed. He's a profile they needed from last season. And they've gone out and they've addressed the problem. They were obviously not going to get an experienced left wing guy in there. And to be frank, to be fair to Chelsea, how many experienced left wingers are there on the market? Like Barcelona were
the best of them are young.
Yeah, Barcelona were said you went for Nico Williams. I just saw something on Rashford. I didn't necessarily read it, but I know Rashford is in there. Yeah, Rashford is in there.
Oh, like I'll be happy.
It's in the news somewhere. But players like that, in fact, if you get Gittins and you get Rashford, it's almost the same thing because Rashford you don't even know what he can give you. Yeah. But I think for me, from a Chelsea point of view, I think it's a good deal.
Yeah, and look, I think the thing for Gittins is that I think of him similar to someone like Bakula. He's the sort of player that may annoy you occasionally, but if your team is set, you don't really mind, right? Mm-hmm. And there is room for him to excel often, and on the few occasions where things will not click for him, you don't really mind because you have other match winners in the team. If Chelsea are playing well, I don't think we would have any issues with Gittins. Sisho, the issue is on the other flank where Chelsea appear to be prepared to move on Noni Madueke, who we're told is now aggressively negotiating or actively negotiating with Arsenal. I didn't see that one coming. For Arsenal, it sort of makes sense that you have a substitute for Bukayo Saka, but for the player,
it makes sense.
It doesn't.
I mean, he's going to be an expensive buy, and let's face it, he's never going to play ahead of Saka. And Saka is not a player who normally gets injured. Yes, at the time we want to rest him here and there, but Madueke as well doesn't appear to be a player who, for me, is a team player who understands a big patch role. Because even at Chelsea, when he hasn't played enough, he's been a problem in the dressing room. Everybody sees his behavior. Everybody sees his talking behavior. He's not happy that he's not getting minutes. Well, we've seen in recent times that he can play on the left. I don't think he's been exceptional playing on the left. And maybe Arsenal also thinking that, okay, then he can do a job for Martinelli. He can do a job for Saka. He could maybe go down the middle. Can he? I don't think he can. So I'm wondering really what he brings to the Arsenal team. But like I said, Saka is almost always going to play, right? And Saka is chasing numbers, is chasing good game time. Is almost always fit. Is Madueke the kind of player you want to bring in for him to say, I'm happy to watch Saka play week in, week out? When his English position for the World Cup is also at stake. Because Tuchel has come in, he's used him well. If he's going to Arsenal, he's not going to be playing games. He's not going to make the World Cup. So how is that dressing room going to look like? Yeah, you want competition, but you want healthy competition. And that's why I think I don't see that. Arteta has to show us why. And Danny follows Arsenal more than I do. So Danny might be able to explain to me why Madueke is a need for Arsenal. But I didn't think he's the kind of profile of player. Now, if Arsenal is going to buy Tyler Devlin from Southampton, I can understand. He's so young. He could be a big part player, wait for his time and buy this time. But I don't think Madueke is that kind of character where he can be patient to watch Saka play and then be the big part player in the team. So I wonder what that is. But we know that Neto has proven to be a better player for him on that side.
Yeah, but
and Chelsea maybe want to bring in some cash for him and reinvest it.
Sisho, the player himself, though, just before I come to Daniel for his word on why it perhaps makes sense for Arsenal. Is this the right move? Because if he goes to Arsenal, he potentially gets even significantly less game time and a year ahead of the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly what I've said. That's what I'm saying. If he's going to be happy to be playing fewer games ahead of the World Cup because positions are up for grabs. You've got the likes of Morgan Rage, Rogers who are playing well, Jacob Ramsey. You don't know where Marcus Rashford is going to end up. There are several other players. Saka is always really going to be there. And if you're going to be playing the same team with Saka, and you're playing a lot of games, then maybe. But I'm thinking that if he stays at Chelsea, he will surely play way more. I don't think Jamie Gittins is is a better player than him. So he could still as well be playing on that left-hand side, could be swapping with Neto. But I think it's a move that the club tells themselves are happy to see happen. And I don't know if the player wants this deal to happen as well. But I would be surprised if Noni Madueke thinks that it is the right time for him to go to a club like Arsenal when I can't, from where I sit, see the minutes in the Arsenal team for him. I can't genuinely see a lot of those minutes in the Arsenal team for him, because even at Chelsea he's been so inconsistent, but because they didn't necessarily have the options for him, he could spend a lot of time on the pitch, and he hasn't done enough to prove to me that he goes into Arsenal and commands minute. No, not at the moment.
I'm just seeing a post from Laurie Whitwell, the Athletic reporter, who's reporting that Man United have told him that Marcus Rashford, Anthony, Garnacho, Sancho and Malacia have all told the club that they wish to explore a future away. And so their return dates is being delayed until later in July. And Marcus Rashford has been informed in advance that the 10 shirt will go to Matthias the Great Cunha.
Matthias the Great Cunha.
Yes.
But look, and I don't know why Man United will put this statement out. It's two things.
Look,
if Man United are putting a statement out that if Man United there's a leak that these players are taking to go, I think it reduces value.
Don't you think it's because it's probably because they know that they have some deals line up for each of them, and that putting this information out?
Look, it's Man United. Man United always have struggled to sell players, and for good prices. And even if you've got deals in place for them, once it begins to sound desperate, and that is why that Amorim situation of Garnacho to look for a club for me was so, in my opinion, it was nonsense. Really, you might as well not want the player at the club, but it's a young talented footballer who could command the price. The moment the manager tells that player to look for a club, that means that United are desperate to sell the player. So if I'm the buying club, I'm buying my time, and we could be here. The players might travel with the team for pre-season, and on the last day of transfer is when the players are going to leave the club.
That's when
all of that doesn't help in planning and all of that. So I think that some of these information, and not to players want their players out of the club, but they don't come out and say these things as my that have like out. But let's see how it goes. As I said, maybe deals are already in place. It's just a chain of communication. But it's my United, I don't trust that. I think they're going to jeopardize pricing, and they are going to lose a strong hand on the negotiation table.
All right, Daniel, final word on the Noni Madueke situation and why you think Arsenal are making this move for him.
Look, for a very long time, Arsenal have not had a deputy for Bukayo Saka. And last season, he hit them hard. Saka had given them, I think, was it 4 or 5 years of consistency, always fit, playing week in, week out. So they never really thought that there was a possibility of him being out. Then he missed about 3 months of action last season, and we saw how badly affected the club. So obviously, it makes sense for them to go out and get somebody who can deputize him. Madueke started most games for Chelsea on that side last season, so his Premier League standard, the same Chelsea that ended up qualifying for the Champions League. He's not better than Saka. Arsenal are not signing him to go and start matches. He is going there to beef up their squad, and that's what you need. Even if I say for competition for Saka, Saka doesn't need competition. When he's the only one, he's still performing.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need a push. But the point is, he can't and shouldn't be playing every game. The games are coming thick and fast, and he's accumulated a lot of game time over the past 4 or 5 seasons. So then it makes sense to have somebody.
Then a quick question. Yeah. Iwaneri or Madueke in place of Saka? Iwaneri or Madueke in place of who are you going to choose?
No, for that role, I'll take Madueke.
Okay.
Yeah. So it makes sense from an Arsenal point of view. Get somebody who is Premier League standard, who can come in. He has a very good experience with playing for one of the big teams, and can come in and do a job if need be. So for me, it's one of those deals that it makes perfect sense. It's not, I don't understand. I think it's one of those things where, because Chelsea fans have complained so much about how the guy is not good, it's like Arsenal fans are also feeling bad because they are going to take some Chelsea player who is not good. But if he was that bad, I don't think he would have helped Chelsea finish in the Champions League places last season. He's not, and again, it is Saka he's going to have to contend with. He's never going to get that place ahead of Saka. He's a deputy to Bukayo Saka. And for me, if you have a deputy who has played enough games in the Premier League for a top team and has done a job, for me, it's a very good signing.
You're not worried about the concerns that he's not exactly a team player and he sulks when he's not playing, and his body language sometimes when he doesn't get the ball and how he relates to his teammates. You're not worried about any of that?
No, I'm not worried about that because that's at Chelsea.
Yeah.
That's at Chelsea. When he looks over his shoulders, these are players that he grew up with. They are his age. They are young players. There's no senior figure in that Chelsea squad that can put him in his place. Last season, he's looking at...
Danny, then what about... Danny, I was going to ask, what about to make him happy? Saka plays 70 minutes and he plays 30 minutes. What does that do to Saka himself when he has to come off the pitch at 75th minute?
No, the point is
game time.
You don't sign Madueke to make him happy. Now Madueke can be who? If he doesn't understand... No, that's what I'm saying. If you were in a dressing room with Jackson, Mudryk, who just came from Mudryk, these are his mates. There's no senior.
Hendrik.
Mercurial Hendrik. Mercurial Hendrik.
It's a dressing room for Mbappe.
Yeah.
Vinicius, Rodrigo. So the boy says, you know, be happy.
No, you don't. No, I'm not saying he should be. I'm not saying he should smile and be happy that he's not playing. Yeah. I'm saying the degree of your unhappiness and the level of which you take your unhappiness.
If it's Arsenal, you
check yourself. If you are Chelsea with this kind of thing, and I think same Drogba then say that he go feed.
Oh no.
Go give him something.
Betway Scratch and Win is back with a bang, hoping 9 million Ghana cedis prize ranging from cash, free spins, free flights, and more for grabs from the 1st to the 31st of July this year. But how do you take part? Simply log into Betway, bet on sports or casino, and you'll get your daily strat card. From there, it's just scratch, match, and win, with every day being another chance to strike it lucky. Only at betway.com.gh today. Terms and conditions apply. This is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. Betway. Get way more. This has been Game Plan on Joy 99.7 FM, proudly brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing Ghanaians, and Betway. Get way more. That's our show for today. We're back next week.